Good morning. Welcome to the Buzz with Bizzy Crochet. We are going to be chatting today with Malena straight from Straight Hooked. And give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on camera now. Hi, Malena. Welcome to the Buzz with Bizzy Crochet. Thank you so much for joining me today for a chat.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to get to know you. I was digging around on your website just a little bit, and so we're going to talk about a few things from there. But the one thing that I'd like for you to start with, though, is just introduce yourself to us. Who are you? Tell us what you're comfortable with sharing about your family, where you're from, etc.
Okay. I'm Malena, like you just said. I live in Colorado with my husband and my insane 3-month-old Shih Tzu puppy, who
She's super cute.
she's a distraction. So it's very likely that during the course of this interview, she will pop up here and gnaw on my hair and make me make ridiculous faces. She's currently sort of behaving. Hello. And yeah, so she's roaming about. We have a daughter. She is almost 22, but she decided that she was too cool for living with mommy and daddy. And so she moved out right before Christmas in 2021, which was
Okay.
pretty rude. But um, we have adjusted and she's doing well. She doesn't live far, about 10 minutes away. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and she comes to visit a lot more often now because she likes to play with Puppy.
Oh, puppies are amazing. So at some point, I'm sure that Puppy's going to make a debut, but I got to see her earlier. She's absolutely adorable.
Thank you.
So tell me what the story was. I know that you told me already, but tell us how you ended up with 3-month-old Puppy.
It's kind of sad. We
Oh,
had 3 Shih Tzus for years and years, and they all got old and passed away in January or February of 21, 22, and 23.
oh no.
I know. So our last one passed away completely suddenly. She was fine. She had a happy weekend and was running around playing. She was 12.
Mm.
And then Sunday night she ate her dinner, she took a nap, and she
Mhm.
woke up and she was kind of making this weird gurgle sounds. I thought she had something in her throat.
Oh. Mhm.
And I got up to go see what was going on, and she fought me about, touching her mouth, and then screamed real loud and was dead.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was
That had to be
super traumatic.
traumatic.
Yeah, so I tried, CPRing her for
Yeah.
25 minutes and just no. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was ridiculously devastating. And then
Mhm.
72 hours later, we were not trying to get a puppy at all, but there was a
Yeah.
family who had adopted Miss Ruby Sue, and they had 2 really tiny kids, and it was not working out.
Mm. Yeah.
So they were like, "Can you take this dog?" And so we said yes, and now we have a baby.
Yeah, and they're so sweet. I mean, we all know that dogs grow out of this age, so I'm sure that it'll get easier as it goes, but it's kind of like starting over with kids. You know,
Yes,
once you're used to the older ones, it's hard to go backwards.
it is. Yeah, she's a mega hindrance on me crocheting, freaking
Oh,
out.
I'm sure. I'm sure. It's almost like a cat.
Yeah, yeah, she is like a cat. She actually will stretch like a cat and arch her back.
Really?
And
Oh my goodness.
apparently, my yarn is the best toy in the house. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, she's very kitty cat.
All right. So, talking about yarn, tell me how you got started on crocheting.
um, I always wanted to learn to crochet, since I was a little bitty girl.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so I would just ask people who, my mom was very crafty, but not yarn crafty. She did
Mm.
gosh, floral arrangements and do you remember in the late 80s, early 90s when there was that thing to take a t-shirt and put an applique inside and then cut the t-shirt and shred it so that the applique
Yes.
showed through? Oh
Yes.
Lordy, we had a lot of those. And she sewed a lot. So she did all kinds of crafty things, but she wasn't yarn crafty.
Okay.
Um, so I would ask people, like anybody who did crafts, I'm like, can you teach me to crochet? And they're like, I don't know how to crochet. So my grandma taught me to knit when I was 6 or 7.
Okay.
I no longer remember how to knit. It's just not going to happen for me.
No.
Um, but yeah, I like always wanted to learn, and finally in 2002, I think,
Okay.
I decided, dude, I'm just gonna learn. So I went to the craft store and I bought some yarn and a hook and some books on crochet, and I was like, I'm gonna figure
Awesome.
this out. So I
Yes.
taught them.
And you started at a time when there was no YouTube. I mean, YouTube's everywhere now. The
Hmm.
stitch tutorials, like, there's nothing you can't learn from
Yeah.
YouTube. So you I mean, because picked up crocheting, I wanna say just a little bit before that. I was taught when I was 8, but I picked it back up as an adult. My daughter was 3, so let's see, she's about 1998-ish, 99. So we were kind of in that same time frame. There just weren't books available. There wasn't much to choose from. Like, you had to dig for something interesting to make,
Yeah.
or you signed up for, like, the leisure arts books where they would send you one every month and that kind of thing.
Hmm. But I'm cheap. I never did that.
I just I think I had the White Birches House of White Birches subscription. I don't even know. I got rid of a bunch of the books. I still have quite a few on my shelf, but, you know, I I look at them sometimes. I think that I always wanted to have this library, this huge library of books, and then YouTube came along, and it seemed like it was almost redundant, and yet I'm not really willing to get rid of all of my books just because I'm afraid that there's gonna be some EMP that's gonna come across, and it's gonna blow out all of the technology, and what's gonna happen if I don't have a book? If I'm completely relying on online, what's gonna happen? So, it's just my crazy brain. But, okay, so
Amazing.
you learned by yourself how
No.
to how to crochet.
Yes, I did.
Your Yorkie Poo's hanging around?
She's chewing on something.
Oh, fun.
I can't see. What are you doing? Oh, she's nutty. She's crazy.
So ever since you started designing, what was the first thing I shouldn't say designing, ever since you started crocheting, about when did you start designing things for yourself, and what was, like, the first thing that you made?
Um, well, those are different questions. So I basically knew double crochet,
Mhm,
and um, and I would do different variations of that, like the granny stitch, or just like a
mhm.
whole row of double crochet, or like clusters and like the fan stitch. Just
Sure.
any double crochet we could do, and I made, I don't know, over 100 blankets
Mhm,
over the course of, gosh, I don't know, many years. And then when Pinterest came around in
mhm.
2012, I was like, holy crap, you can do things besides make blankets. So yeah, so Pinterest inspired me to try to figure out like how to do other things besides the double crochet.
Mhm.
And my husband was always telling me that I should like sell my sell my crochet.
Okay.
And it's like, have you watched how long it takes me to make a blanket? Do you know how much people would have to pay me to make this a profitable thing? And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, but you should sell it. I'm like, no one's going to pay me $1,500 for a blanket. And I'm
Mm,
not going to make this into a job that's going to
yeah,
cost that much. That's
yeah,
crazy. Um, so yeah, he was like always telling me to do it. And he loves my blankets, especially when
yeah.
it's cold outside. And he's like, make another blanket. um, and then in 2016, I think, um, a friend of mine connected me with a mutual friend of hers whose messy bun hat had just gone viral.
Okay.
And that was Pam Grice,
Yeah.
a crochetpreneur. So I actually met her We lived in the same town, and
That's awesome.
yeah, she needed somebody to help her make all the hats because she
Mhm.
had so many orders. So I took on making a bunch of the hats for her.
Cool.
What is that noise?
I don't know, but she looks like she's chewing on something back there.
Yeah, I think she's eating the dresser or whatever. She's being quietish. Um, so yeah. So anyway, so that's how I met Pam, and
Mhm.
that was when I realized, like, no, my husband's right. I could make
Mhm.
this into a business were I not making only blankets. Uh,
Mhm.
so I still waffled about that for another couple years, um, but then Facebook stalked Pam, and she started her
Mhm.
Crochetpreneur Business Academy,
Yeah.
and I actually joined as one of the like original beta crew for
Wow.
since the very start, um, and had originally started thinking that I was going to be a product seller because I was like, I don't know how to design anything.
Mm.
I'm not a designer. I don't have that creativity. I'm too dumb. It's not gonna
No,
happen.
no, no.
So yeah, so she then did launched the Get It Done Pattern Writing Challenge,
Okay.
and that I highly recommend if anybody wants to get into designing that you do that challenge because that was amazing. So for that, she said to do like a small project. Don't
Mhm.
don't write a giant pattern, write a little one.
Mhm.
So I did, and actually invented a stitch while writing the pattern.
Very
Um,
cool.
yeah, and so I asked and asked and asked because I was like, I don't want to be the idiot who claims to have invented a stitch, and then somebody comes along and goes, "That's not you
It's
didn't
not
invent anything."
done.
Yeah. So I asked, and I'm like, "Listen, here's how I do the stitch. This is what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
What's this called?" And everybody said, I don't know, but it's really pretty.
Yeah.
So I have dubbed it the dolphin stitch
I
because
noticed that pattern on your website.
it looks like dolphins kind of
Oh,
jumping
way
out of the
cool.
water. So this was the first pattern I ever wrote. This is the Stars and Stripes head wrap.
Fun.
And yeah,
Okay,
it
so
just
how
kind
does
of,
one wear that?
well, I'm going to look stupid in a minute, but we'll
No,
do it.
no, never.
Oh, oh yes, many times. But anyway, it just goes on and then goes under. Oh, come on. I can't use cameras as mirrors because I say dumb things like, "How do I bend my head?"
You know what, though? It's like video games. It's all backwards.
It is backwards. Yeah, there's a video somewhere on the internet of me trying to show off a design I made and go like this while also looking to see if I'm showing it right. And I literally said, "How do I bend my head?" And my daughter thinks that's the funniest thing that's ever been on the internet.
Yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
pretty funny.
so it just kind of,
That's super cute. I love it.
goes like that. And yeah, so that was my first ever pattern. And it is actually free. I'm pretty sure it's free on my blog.
I don't
Um,
remember.
so yeah, so you can learn the dolphin stitch there. And I
Cute.
also have a downloadable PDF
Mhm.
just to like it's a whole tutorial with pictures and links to my Rumble channel where I have video tutorials on doing the dolphin stitch.
Okay.
Um, it is super. Excuse me. There's a turd on my carpet. Uh,
Fun.
it's oopsies. Hello. Anyway, it's super fun to do. It works up quickly. I really like the texture it makes, and you can use any kind of
There
yarn with
she
it.
is.
There's Miss Ruby Sue, the sheep who.
Oh my
She
gosh,
has an
she's
Instagram, so if anybody wants to
does she?
follow the dog, she's at
Oh my gosh.
Ruby Sue Sheep Who.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yes, she's
She's so cute, though.
she
Is she
is
ever gonna
so.
get bigger than that?
I think she's going to be probably between 12 and 17 pounds. She's
Cute.
4 or 5 pounds right now, so like
Wow.
triple her size. She was like less than a pound when we got her, so she's already tripled.
Yeah.
And yes, my hair is like the best shoe toy,
Yes,
and
I
I never put
see
it
it.
down because of this. So she's my
Yeah.
favorite.
I mean, that would be That would be irritating
That hurts.
because it doesn't feel good after a while.
It really doesn't, no. So I
No.
usually keep it either in a braid, and she, like, plays with my scrunchie and beats my braid up, or I'll put it up in a bun. I wear it in a bun at night because gnawing on my bun soothes her to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
And
my husband's like, "Dude, your hair smells like dog breath." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not surprised to
mm.
hear this." Shit.
It's my new smell, babe.
Yeah, the only problem
Okay.
is it's my lips. Oh my
Do
god.
what?
She bites my boobies.
Hey, it's there. It's chewable, right?
Yeah, it's a fun bump. No, don't eat the
No,
bumps.
not for you.
Yeah, but she
Definitely not
doesn't
for
like to
you.
be held like a baby. I'll probably get her all fussy. Why don't you go play with your toys? That's why Mama buys you toys. You should go play with that. Oh, okay. So sorry.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
So,
this is
what
pretty
is your
much how my
favorite
work
part of
week goes.
designing now?
What's that?
Now that you're into it a little bit more, what is your favorite part of designing?
Um, I really like when other people make my designs and then post them on the internet. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
mine and I didn't make it. It's so
Yes,
exciting. Um,
it is exciting.
yeah, that's super cool. Um, so
Well,
yeah,
because it's
that's
just
my favorite.
verification that like somebody understood what I wrote down
Yes, and they liked
and
what I
they
wrote.
liked it enough to want to make it themselves. It's such a compliment.
Yeah, so I always get excited about that, and I'll show my husband. I'm like, look at this, and he's like, I'm like, that's mine, but I didn't make it. And he's like, oh yeah, that does look like yours. You didn't make that? I'm like, no. Did you see me making that? I did not.
That's funny.
So
So
yeah.
speaking of your husband, tell us the story of the blanket behind you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like I mentioned, he's my biggest fan and also my neutral critic. My daughter's my worst critic. She tells me like that looks stupid, mom.
Oh
Um,
no.
no, I like it. I need negativity in my life. There's the crochet community is so supportive and kind, and that doesn't always feed my soul. I need someone to roast me.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
funny.
yeah, so like and anytime I make a design that I'm unsure of, I used to just ask my daughter to come out of her room, but now I have to like send a selfie.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this, and she will just like crack up laughing. She's like, that's so bad. Why are you making that?
Oh
Um,
no.
so yeah, it's good. I like the roasts. But anyway, he had been asking me for I don't even know how long to make him a Three's Company blanket. Because he likes the
So
show and
for those that might be watching that are not as old as you and I, what's a Three's Company blanket?
that is so there was a sitcom in the late 70s called Three's Company. And it was about a dude and two female roommates who lived in an apartment, and he was quite the philanderer.
Mm,
However, his landlord didn't want a boy living with two girls because that was scandalous. So he pretended that he was gay.
mhm.
And basically, every episode, there was some large confusion and a big misunderstanding.
And it
But
was
anyway,
John Ritter, and he was hilarious.
it was a good show. Yeah, so we would still watch those reruns all the time.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, my husband is like, I need a blanket in Three's Company colors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I ended up with leftovers from another project in all of the, which way am I leaning? Cameras.
To the
All
left.
of these fabulous colors here. And so I
It's
said, all
so
right,
cute.
I will make you a Three's Company blanket. So this is the excuse me. This is the throwback throw blanket.
I love it.
And you can get the pattern. Oh my gosh. Ah, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yes, we've hit Ruby's a crazy time.
Life happens.
Yes. So anyway, the pattern's available at straighthook.com.
Yes, and I did go over there and take a look, and I wrote down I've got a small list of things because I like that, on your website, it says you are a fashionable designer for the modern trendsetter. Your designs are fashionable designs for the modern trendsetter. And I looked through your stuff because, like, the sweater that's behind you is called the Classic Coffee Cardigan, and it's got this amazing retro vibe to it. Your blanket has a really great retro vibe to it. I have 2 others that were, like, favorites of mine. The Floral Flare handbag, that one's very fun and sassy and summery, and then the Practical Pashmina has a very classical look to it. So, it seems like do your designs is it just like a spur of the moment thing, or do you feel like you have an aesthetic that you're going for when you are setting up a design?
Um, here's basically like my private motto. I don't know if you've seen the movie Tommy Boy, but my daughter,
I think I have once.
oh, that's a good one. My daughter's always like, "Mom, that's a middle-aged lady design." I'm like, "Yeah, I make designs for the middle-aged lady because that's who I am and that's who I care about." So, yeah, it's mostly just like, stuff that I like. Um,
Mhm,
and I figure if I like it, then some other middle-aged lady will like it too.
mhm. So you really
Um,
design to make yourself happy, which I love.
yes, I do. I don't like working on a project that I hate.
Mm,
I don't want to do it. It'll get put in timeout. It'll take so long for me to finish.
mhm,
Um, so it's not a productive use of my time to make something that I am not totally in love with.
mhm. I do the same thing. I have actually a little corner in my living room where the naughty blankets and things go. Because when I'm designing something and I've got it in my brain, and in my brain, it's like, "This is going to work." And then when it actually goes into practicality, it's not working, and I'm like, "Okay, now this has to work because I saw it in my brain. So I have to figure this out." Well, it has to sit over there while I sit over here because it's and then it just you ruminate on it, and all you can think about is, "How do I fix this? How do I fix this?" So, yeah, it can be a real downer when you're working on something that's just not working.
Yes. Yeah, so I don't do that. I basically,
Good for
my
you.
design process kind of goes like this. I will have the same skein of yarn and I will do some stitches, hate them, rip it out, do some different stitches, hate them, rip it out. I can do that for weeks on end until I finally am like, yes, I love what I'm doing here. Let's go. And then
Yeah.
I will actually start writing down what I'm doing and get going on it. So,
So, do you have a favorite stitch of the moment, or is it
no.
no? You just kinda
um,
love 'em all?
Yeah, like I like to use the dolphin stitch
Mhm.
because I invented it and it's fun and quick. But I don't want to be like the lady who only designs things with the dolphin stitch. So I try to limit those to maybe like one a year or so,
Uh-huh.
which I guess I'm due because I haven't done one since last early this same time last year is the words I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um, and that one, this was actually a really cool project. I had just finished a project and was in that crap. What am I going to come up with now? Island of time. And I
Mhm.
got an email from one of my readers who said, "Hey, I really love your dolphin stitch. And my best friend passed away. She was I don't remember the words. She worked with dolphins, with
Oh, okay.
rescuing dolphins. And she said, I really want to make her mom a shawl using your dolphin stitch.
Mm.
Um, so what would you recommend which pattern would you recommend that I do?
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I have nothing to do right now and I needed inspiration. So please let me design a shawl
Mhm.
for you to make.
Oh,
Uh,
neat.
and she was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah. Let me design something. Tell me like, where does her mom live? Is she cold?
Mhm.
Is she hot? Like, what do we need?" Um, and so she said her friend's mom lived in Texas. It's hot, but those Texas buildings are overly air conditioned, so you
They
need
are
a little
like
something.
Florida.
So yeah, so I designed this shawl, which is a different shape than I've ever done before. It's not a rectangle. It's like a hexagon.
Okay.
See? So it'll drape better. Please don't attack the shawl, Ruby Sue. Um, oh, did I put it on backwards?
He's
Yes, I
like
did.
he's like, "No, I wanna get in it with you, mom."
Yes, I know. Good gosh, she's annoying. But she's cute and we love her. So
Yes.
anyway, yeah, it just kind of, please don't do that. She's release, release. So anyway, when it drapes, it
So it's that
whatever.
same dolphin stitch though?
It is the dolphin stitch, yes. So yeah, this is the Harley's Gamble shawl, and
Oh, cute.
my hair is being attacked. I never wove in the ends. That's nice. That's my trademark. I don't weave in and
You know
hide
what
them in
though? I
pictures.
have got projects all over the place with stuff hanging out all over because once the pattern is done and I have got it sent out to testers, that bad boy
Mhm.
is going in a box.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, so I designed this one, and proceeds from this pattern sale I donate to the, gosh, I can never remember the name of it. It's the National Institute of Marine Life or Texas Marine
Oh,
Life.
okay.
I don't know. It's on
I
my
don't know
website.
what it is either, but it sounds,
But yeah, so anyway, I donate to the Marine Life
oh, that's
and
cool.
get back to rescuing dolphins. So yeah, that was really one of my favorite designs because the inspiration came from a fan, and that was really neat. And
That is really cool.
yeah, so yeah, so I made a friend and I made a shawl.
That's super cool. I've had quite a few of my designs actually come out of like necessity of a gift or something like that where I'm doing it for someone else. And I've gotten to the point now where if I'm crocheting something new, I don't care what it is, I'm writing it down just in case.
Hmm.
Because I don't put out everything that I make, but it might help, maybe somebody wants the pattern later. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll get it written up.
Yeah, and right now the project I'm working on is the first project in 4 years or 5 years that I'm not writing down because it is not a design I'm publishing. It's strictly a fun project. I'm just making a simple shell stitch blanket for Ruby Sue
Yeah.
so that she has something to chew on other than like my important stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny.
she's
I
right
wonder if
now.
there are dog toys out there that you can make too.
Yes, but one of the things that Pam, my business coach, has really drilled into my head is that you need to be like niched down. Like people get
Mhm.
confused if you make everything.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so
Oh,
the
no, I
fact that
didn't
I
mean for you to
do,
put it out. I just meant for her.
oh yeah, no. Well, also I don't do Ami. Holy crap, they
No?
are. Oh no, no. Unless you want like a comedy project, which there is a story on my blog of the time that I decided I was gonna make a giant bear, and oh my gosh, that is a disaster. So that's a comedy story. But yeah, I don't do those. I don't have
Well, and
patience.
it's not for everybody.
But my daughter um, decided she wanted to learn to crochet.
Mhm.
And so I showed her, and she made a couple of comedy projects. I roasted her because I'm a good mom. And then when I
Fair play,
started,
baby.
when I started my business, she was like, and I was trying to focus on product sales. She's
Mhm.
like, "Well, can you sell some of my stuff?" And I'm like, "Yes, but it needs to meet my quality standards."
Mhm.
So she found a pattern on Pinterest or something and made it, and it was cute if a kid made it. And I was like, I mean, it's cute, but not quite the vibe we're going for here. And she's like, fine. So she goes downstairs and decides, I'm not going to follow patterns because patterns are stupid, and starts just freehand designing these amazing
Mhm.
amigurumis. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like mega talented.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so she has actually written a couple of patterns
Mhm.
that are available on my website.
Okay.
Um, but she's like busy with her social life and like does
Mhm.
things instead of crochets with her
I
spare
know
time.
at that age, I wasn't really interested in this kind of stuff either.
Yeah, so she doesn't put out a lot, but yeah, she's like mega talented. Um, gosh, has it been 2 years? 2 years ago, my friend Angie from SAS was contacted by somebody who needed a bunch of crocheted items for a Chuck E. Cheese music video.
Oh my goodness.
And she reached out to me. She's like, I don't have time to make all of the things they want. Can you do part of this project?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, but my daughter can. So she made 4 Chuck E. Cheese characters, and I made a sweater for the rat. And yeah, so
That's
that's
awesome.
there. It exists, and it's stuff that we did.
What a fun
And
project.
yeah, it's the crochet all day song. And
I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't
I
think I've ever heard
will
of it.
warn you, holy crap, that song is
Mm.
stuck in your head. It is catchy and annoying, but yeah. And that there's a blog post with a link to that video as well.
Mhm.
Um, I think the post is called Crochet All Day.
Oh my
But
gosh. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to look it up.
yeah, at least just to check out how incredibly talented my child is, because she's my finest masterpiece. And
Yes,
then
I
she made
agree.
some cool stuff.
I feel the same about my children. All right. So, do you have a favorite niche or specialty that you create? I mean, out of all of the things that you do, because you have blankets and you've got like clothing, you've got some headwear. What do you love to make the most?
I am currently on a pretty heavy shawl kick, I would say.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think with my I've got 2 orders of yarn that are waiting for me to go pick up at the mailbox.
Okay.
Uh, one of which has a deadline that I think is pretty soon, so I'm gonna have to get some of that here. Um,
No pressure.
right. So yeah, one of those shipments I'm supposed to be making a sweater with, and the other one, which is the deadline one, I think I'm gonna do a shawl. So yeah, so that's coming up. But I just
Cool.
finished in January a shawl that I started in flippin' September. And I am so excited to get that one out into the world.
That's awesome.
Nobody's seen it yet. I actually meant to bring it in here so that I could give a couple
Debut
people who
it.
are watching this, yes, but I didn't. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited about this one. It is
Good.
quite large. It's a mega shawl, so
Okay.
that's why it took so dang long to make.
So, what yarn did you use for it? What can we expect from the design?
Don't ask me what yarn I used. It was I don't remember. It's a new yarn brand, and they had
Okay.
contacted me and said, "Hey, do you want to try my yarn?" And I was like, "Yeah, I will
Heck yeah.
accept yarn anytime."
Yep.
Um, yeah, and I don't remember, but it's shiny. It's
Okay.
called Oh, I know what it is. I don't remember the company, but the yarn is called Retro Glam.
Oh, fun.
So it's shiny and so soft,
Mhm.
and if as long as you're crocheting forward, it is delightful to work with. It is not fun to frog. Oh
Oh,
my
no.
Oh man, that stuff got put in timeout. I can't tell you how many times.
I can
But
only imagine.
oh lordy, yeah. But once I finally figured out what I was doing, I was like, yes, let's go. Um, so I'm very excited about that. And due to doggy issues, I have not had a chance to get that one photographed or typed up. But
Mm.
hopefully here in a couple months, that one will be released. And
Well, we
it's
will be looking for it.
yes, I'm excited about it.
I did wanna ask you, on what was it? Ooh. Oh, about your blog. I know that tell us a little bit about what you have on your blog, and I mean, can people sign up for a newsletter with you to keep up
They
with you?
Yes. Um, so my blog is a little bit all over the place. It just sort of depends on what I feel like writing about.
Mhm.
I'll typically, when I release a pattern, I will put a whole post about it and like
Mm.
explain, you know, the fluff that you get that nobody ever reads anyway.
Yes,
The story
definitely.
behind my pattern that no one cares about.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Somebody cares.
I do occasionally get some feedback, like somebody read it, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm not wasting my time." Um, But listen, I use recipes from the internet. I don't read their story about the meatloaf. I just go to the
Zip.
meatloaf recipe. I get it. Um, and they
Do
are
you
annoying.
appreciate the ones that say jump to the recipe?
Um, no, I don't. My husband is really big into like the security of the internet in this household, and so like
Oh,
a lot of those buttons don't work for me. They're like, I
oh,
don't know. He's got some weird blocks on things.
okay.
Um,
Hey,
I
it
don't.
works.
Yeah, but also we don't see a lot of ads because of that. So. Uh,
Nice.
Yeah, which is a little problematic because I don't see the ads on my website until somebody goes, "Dude, I can't even use your website because they're like the ads are ridiculous." So if you recently tried to use my website, I would say in January, and you were like, "Wow, your website is a hunk of duty," please revisit it because I
Yeah, I was
fixed
just on there
them.
today and it wasn't too obnoxious.
Yes,
There
I
were a
fixed
couple of
it.
ads I had to click through, but
Yeah,
no more or less than anybody else.
yeah, they were. It actually the this is a completely different story, but the ad company I was using, my husband just built my website. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's brand new,
Uh-huh.
and I love it. And then I popped my ad revenue company and they jacked my website up so bad. Like my header was this big, my
Oh my
footer was
gosh.
popping up into the header. Like I don't know how they screwed my site.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
didn't know about it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hey, everybody, if you need somebody to work on your website, you should contact my husband because he's awesome. Go look at my hunk of shit."
Oh no.
Yeah. So he was like, "Dude, we need to fix this immediately because like you're making me look bad." I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
my gosh.
whoops." So it's fixed. He really is very good. If you need help with your website, let me know. He
Yeah.
is very kind and gives a huge discount to my yarn pals.
Well, that's
So
awesome. Lovely to
yeah,
know.
yeah. And he does know what he's doing. It's just, then when he lets the designer go rogue on their site, we break them because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Um, but yeah, I was saying something and got completely sidetracked. What did you ask me?
Oh, just to tell us a little bit about your
Yeah,
blog
what's
and
on the
can they
blog?
sign up for your newsletter and stuff like that? Do you have a
That's great.
newsletter?
I have a newsletter. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, I have a newsletter. There is a um, minimally intrusive pop up at the bottom of my website that will
Mm,
invite you to sign up for the newsletter.
yeah.
Um, I work full time during the week, so I really am only paying full attention to my website on the weekends. So I
Mhm,
typically only email on the weekends if you're lucky. Sometimes I don't email at all.
mm,
If there's like a really exciting event happening, I will email more frequently, but I try to be as minimally intrusive with my emails as I can.
mm,
And typically just say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and
mhm.
here's all of the fun things that are happening in the crochet world if you want to get in on that fun. Um, so yeah, so that's my newsletter. As far as what's on my blog, yes, there's the story about the pattern.
Mhm,
Um, Sometimes I'll do a stitch tutorial or a yarn review.
mhm,
And then I also have a series where I interview other crochet designers.
mhm,
And that is called Hooked In. And I started it in 2020 and then just sort of let it go for 2 years. But I've brought it back. So once a month, there will be another featured designer. Spoiler alert, March's featured designer is Bizzy.
what?
Um,
I didn't even know.
you did it?
No.
Oh, I was typing it this morning. I'm hoping to get it published today or tomorrow.
Hey,
Um,
guess what? I'm gonna be guest designing on her blog.
yes. Yeah,
Or I should
so
say guest interviewed.
guest interviewed. Yeah, so that's coming out in the relatively near future.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So, and then I also do free patterns as well.
Mhm,
So, yeah, there'll be there. I don't put a ton of time into like making the free patterns super easy to read with all the visual aids that I put into my
mhm,
published patterns.
Mhm.
But yes, all the directions and like explaining how to do special stitches.
Mhm.
And then I also have a Rumble channel where, like, if there is a weird stitch I use in a pattern, I will make a video showing how to
Mhm.
do that stitch and link it either, well, not either, and link it in the blog post and also from the PDF. So you can get to those stitch tutorials. And yeah.
I remember what my question was gonna be before. The sweater behind you, because I'm in my heart of heart, it is my dream to eventually design a piece of clothing, a sweater, something. I am so tripped out over I mean, I've made 100 of them, like, I make clothes. It's not that I don't understand how they go together, but when I'm designing it, I'm so afraid that, like, it's not gonna fit anybody. And I get to thinking about all the grading that you have to do and, like, how do you figure out different stitches? When you are making your clothes, did you take a class? Did you just understand it? What did you do to get started making sweaters and things like that?
I am so glad you asked this because I have something else exciting to share. So yeah, I actually really wanted to design a sweater, just like super
Uh-huh.
wanted to do it. And
'Cause
like
I
you,
love that sweater.
thank you. I was like, I don't have a clue how to do this at all. Um, and then my friend Stephanie from Chunky Hunky Creations
Cute, love
designed,
the name.
yes, she designed, ow, oh, that's my finger. Sorry. Ruby Sue, you're a jerk.
Puppy love.
Ooh, she got me good. She designed I think it was the Bayside sweater, but I might be confusing it with one that I ogled. But anyway,
Mhm,
yeah, it was the Bayside sweater. Anyway, she came up with that and she needed testers. And
mhm.
I happened to be in one of my designing slumps and I was like, ooh, 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 I want to test it. So I tested it, and that was the first piece of clothing that I ever made.
Mhm.
Because I don't count like shawls and hats as clothing; those are accessories.
Yeah, no, I don't really either.
So yeah, so that was my
'Cause
first
it
ever
doesn't take a
sweater.
lot of sizing, and hat sizing is different than clothing sizing.
Yes. So I from doing her test, it sort of helped me understand like here's how we put things together at least.
Sure.
And hers, of course, is a pullover sweater. Um, but that helped just to like know like okay, I got to get like the body and then figure out the neck
Yeah,
and then the sleeves and whatnot.
sure.
So from there, then I was like, okay, I made a sweater. I can design a sweater. I can do this.
Mm.
So I started this one. It's actually a bottom up. So I started at the
Ah,
bottom
okay.
and I knew I wanted it like duster length. And
Uh-huh.
so I kind of just like kept working on it and like wrapping it around me to see how it looked. Um, and then figured out that I wanted it to kind of, angle in here. And then the sleeves, I started trying to like sleeve it down and I was like, this sucks. So those are a top up sleeve, I mean, a bottom up sleeve. So I started
Okay.
with the bell and then they do the decrease and go up and then it attaches.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, so that was basically, I needed to follow someone else's pattern to get my brain to click on like the process of how the pattern should read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I did that. And then I thought I made a small for my design sample. And then I asked my daughter to try it on, and it was freaking enormous on her. And that's when I realized that my wearing stretchy pants for like my workout end, I was no longer a small.
Oh
So
my
that,
gosh, is that funny?
yeah, like she put it on, and I'm like, why is that so big on you? And she's like, yeah, kind of husky, mom.
There is a
So,
meme that I read recently that said, "People who work from home, make sure you try your jeans on because stretch pants are deceptive."
dude,
And that is the
so
truth because, if you are not having to zip up and button your pants, you lose track of where you're at.
yeah, yeah, big time. So yeah, so that's a medium, and it doesn't fit me anymore because I'm now a large.
I'm
Whatever.
big. way more than a large, so I'm not worried about that, but,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I the way that you said that you created it from the wrist up, basically, that's a great way, though, to make sure that you can customize your sleeve length, because there
Mhm,
are people who, they may have shorter bodies, but really, really long arms, that kinda stuff, so
mhm. Yeah, and that's also kinda challenging for me because I have, like, no torso, none at
mm,
all. I
are you
literally was
short?
like there's this between my, rib cage and my hip bone. I have legs, big ol' big, they're just long. They're big too. Legs are long. Like, my husband and I are the same height from foot to hip, and
Okay.
then he's, like, way taller than me because he has a torso. So I have to take that into consideration when I'm, like, trying to design something that I'm oddly shaped and not everybody's shaped like me. So yeah, so that's another consideration.
My
But
husband has shorter legs and a long, long body, so I completely understand that.
everybody's different
Um,
shape.
Nikki says she refuses to wear anything with buttons or zippers when it comes to pants.
That's fair. I mean, I own some, but they no longer fit. That ship has sailed.
I had to go buy new pants.
I need to buy new pants, but I don't want to because I'm gonna cry. So I'm
Yeah, well, I
just
wasn't
the
real
way
happy
these
about
whole
it, but at least I could go out in public again.
I'm not suitable for public. That's fine.
No, because you did say that you work for yourself at home, so that's
Yeah.
it's fun and it's convenient.
Yes,
I
and I
like
only
working
shop
for
at
myself
Walmart,
from home.
so it's fine that I dress like the people of Walmart because I blend right in, and so yeah, it's no big deal. Um,
It's all
but yeah,
good.
so grading patterns,
Mhm,
you have to figure out first what size you're designing for,
mhm.
and it's good to have a critical daughter to tell you that you made a big one. But then you have to take a stitch sample and go, okay, this is this many inches. And then you
Okay.
have to go and get like all of the sizes for like the standardization of like what bust length is for different sizes.
Mhm.
Figure out like, okay, excuse me, if this is a medium and this is 2 inches and
You see
my
that one?
total size here is this, then there's like math involved to make it bigger and smaller.
Mm.
I am in a meeting.
I think I would probably have to have somebody grade it for me because me and
It's
math,
true,
we have a
but
love-hate relationship.
so I'm hesitant to even say anything about this because um, I pay my husband in sandwiches, and therefore my projects that I request they don't take high priority because he prefers when people pay him with cash. Um, but he has been making me a bunch of different calculators that will be on my website. Lordy, I am hoping this is happening soon because he keeps saying, "Oh yeah, your calculators," and he hasn't done for like a year and a half. But the math's all done. He just needs to make it so that it's pretty.
Nice.
But so I will have a yardage calculator so that you can take how much yarn did I use on this one stitch? How
Nice.
many stitches are in this row? How many rows do I have? Here's how much yarn you used um, for both square and in the
We'll be
round project,
living on your website.
right? And then so yeah, there's that one for the square and the round, and then I can't remember because I literally wrote this math 2 years ago. Um, but I think there is also a grading one where it'll like
Okay.
convert. Um, yeah, I think so. I can't remember. We're gonna have to look at my notes. But yeah, like really trying to make that easy. Um, oh yeah, and like sometimes when I get into a big designing rhythm, I do not want to stop and
Mm,
count how many stitches were in this row so that
mhm.
I can do the writing it down. So there's another calculator that's selfishly just for me that'll spit out how many stitches are in every row. Like when
Oh,
I do a
nice.
triangle shawl and like the pattern's on a repeat, but
Mhm.
I don't want to tell you the row count because like there's like 600 stitches in that row. I didn't feel like counting that. So I'm cheating with my calculator. So that will, oh gosh,
But that's not horrible. I
let's
mean,
conservatively say by summer 2023, those will
oh,
be available on my website. And
that'll be lovely.
I think it's gonna be, like, free to use if you just, like, really quick wanna find something out, but if you
Mhm.
want to, like, save what you're doing,
Mhm.
I think we'll do, like, a small fee for like, a monthly subscription or something so you
So
can
kinda
kinda
like a stitch fiddle.
kind of, yes.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's coming.
That'll be nice. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like a great resource.
Yeah, the math wasn't that hard for me to figure out, but, like, for the crochet projects in the round or, like, for triangles and things,
Mhm.
me trying to communicate to him how it needed to come out so that he could figure out how to tell a computer what the math
Oh,
like, it was a nightmare. Like, the first
oh,
one
I'm
was so easy. I'm like, "You need to know stitch length, number of stitches, number of rows, spit it out."
Mhm.
But the trying to do it, from a small size to a big size,
Mm.
I'm like, "I know how to tell you how to do this because you have to take this number and then multiply it and then add this number to that number and continue doing that. But
Mhm.
I don't know what to tell you to tell the computer."
Yeah,
But he
right.
figured it out, and it works, and, so yeah, so
Well, that's fabulous.
he's gonna
It's
get it done
wonderful
as
that you've
soon as
got
he
that
can.
kind of a resource in your house that you can use because nobody in my house likes math or is techie in any way.
Yeah,
When I have a problem, I have a problem. Sorry, I keep knocking. This is my little phone holder for when I'm doing my tutorials and stuff like that, and so I keep hitting it.
that's
But
uh,
okay, so we're coming to just about the end of our time together. I do have a couple of questions that I did want to ask you, and if anybody has any questions for Malena, make sure that you pop them into the chat box. I wanted to ask you about your design aesthetic. It was something that I like to talk to designers about. Like we start somewhere, but as we grow, we evolve. How do you feel like your design aesthetic has evolved over time?
um, that's a really good question that I was not prepared for.
Oh no.
Um, I think, like, initially when I started designing, I was so concerned with, do my words make sense? And so I
Mm,
was really trying to write, like, ridiculously simple patterns.
mm,
Um, but then I got bored with simple stitches, and I wanted to do things that were more fun.
yeah.
So my style has really kind of evolved to making designs that look like they were really hard to do, but they actually
Mhm.
weren't.
I love that.
So yeah, so that's kind of my goal with my patterns. And when I use a complicated stitch, I really try to make sure that I've got, photographic, like step by step photos, and I'll do
Mhm,
a video tutorial, and I'll like really write it out like the best I can.
mhm,
And then I ask my testers to go through it, and they can give me feedback. Although
mhm.
again, with the polite crochet community, some of my testers won't be honest, and so sometimes I will say, "I know this doesn't make sense. Hey, daughter, try out this pattern." And so she did with one, and I don't remember which pattern it was now, but
Where
she's
do you
working on.
find the testers that won't tell you the truth? Mine are sometimes brutal.
Oh, I don't know, mine are all just so nice. I'm like, "Oh, I love this pattern. Oh, it was a little tricky, but I figured it out." I'm like, "No, like, why would you
No.
tell me how I need to make this more explanatory?"
Yes.
Um, but yeah, there was one that I was like, "I know this is tricky, and nobody's telling me this." So, I asked my daughter, I'm like, "Hey, try this pattern out."
Mm.
So she starts working on it, and the string of sailor language that came out of her
Oh,
mouth,
no.
oh, it was hilarious. She was so mad. She's like, "That's effing pattern, blah, 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 son of a crack whack."
Well,
And she was so mad, and she was like, "Oh, the hell is this crap designer?" And I'm like, "It's me." She's like, "You can't send this out." I'm like, "I know. Why doesn't it make sense?" Because it makes sense to me. Why
Mhm.
am I not communicating this well?
Mhm.
So she totally helped me with that one, and then
Well,
she
that's
felt bad
good.
because oh wow, that kid's language. But she didn't hurt my feelings because I knew, like,
Yeah,
I don't want to put something out that's going to make an actual customer that upset with me. I want
right.
them to go, "Oh, okay, this was tricky, but your words really made that clear." So
Yes.
so that's my mission.
Well, that's awesome. And one last question before we say goodbye today. Do you have any tips for new designers or crocheters that you want to put out into the universe that either helps them to get started or helps them over a bump?
Yes, those are kind of two separate questions, though.
That's
Excuse me.
okay.
For new crocheters, I would recommend that you check out Sigoni Macaroni. She is one of my designer friends, and she puts out, oh my gosh, the greatest beginner videos. Really highlights step by step, breaks it
Mhm,
down so that you can really get a good foundation on learning to crochet.
mhm.
Um, but if you know how to crochet and you don't know how to design, I highly recommend you do the Get It Done Pattern Writing Challenge
Okay.
from the Crochetpreneur. Um, that's that's what I did. That's how I got started. And there is also the option to purchase a Canva template for your patterns.
Okay.
Dude, please buy the template. Oh my gosh. My patterns, like from the instant that all of my designs were published, all of my patterns look so beautiful and professional
That's awesome.
because I used that template. I just changed like all of the fonts and stuff and
Mhm.
colors so that they're mine and it looks like it came from me. But yeah, that template has been an absolute lifesaver. Especially just like when you first put out a pattern, you're like, I don't even know what I need to put on this front page.
Mm,
Oh, well, the template tells you. You need to put the stitches used, the materials, the abbreviations, the gauge. Oh my gosh, please put gauge on your patterns. I
mhm,
hate gauge swatching. I hate it,
mhm.
but it's important, especially
It
if
is
you're
very
making a garment.
yeah.
So, yeah, that was the biggest learn for me because I was like, I'm not doing gauge. And my testers were like, why is there not gauge on any of your patterns? And I'm like, do you really care about that? They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a thing.
apparently so. Apparently we care about gauge. So yeah, now we do gauge swatches.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
have it written down because I've done enough gauge swatches. I know when I'm using a particular weight of yarn and what size hook, this is how many stitches I get. And so I've got just a little list, a little, you know, what is
That's
that called?
brilliant. I should
'Cause
do
I
that.
don't want to have to do it every single time.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does because for me, it's a waste of my time. If it may, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Righty. So unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye.
This has been a fun hour. It's gone by quick too.
It has gone by really, really fast, and that's why I was like, "Holy crap, we're, like, hitting the end of it already?" So, but I just wanna thank you so much for joining me today and chatting with me, telling us a little bit about who you are, how you got started, and I'm gonna be looking for your calculators and some more designs coming from you, and especially this great big, shawl that you have coming out. I'm excited about that.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for making time for me. We're gonna say goodbye real quick to Malena, and then I'm going to just take her off camera. Oh, no, I'm not ending the broadcast. What am I doing? Oh, technology. Thank you so much for joining me for the buzz with Busy Crochet today. I hope that you had a great time meeting Malena. I know that I did. I know so much more about her, and she's a wonderful person. And I want to encourage you to make sure that you visit her website. She's got a beautiful website. She's got great patterns, and we all look forward to seeing what she's got coming up next. All right. I will see you on the next buzz with Busy Crochet.